Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with random reviews from the Overflow Room. Yeah. Okay. So we've wrapped up Messiaen, and we are working backwards through the alphabet. And today we have some very interesting composers and one very famous performer. First, André Messager. Oh, he's a wonderful composer from the late 19th century, 1853 to 1929. His ballet, Les Deux Pigeons, the Two Pigeons, with Richard Bonning and the orchestra of the Welsh National Opera. It's an hour and a bit of sumptuous late 19th century French ballet music. What is not to love? It's really very pretty. It's in the big Bonning box, but I keep it separately because, you can't have too much Messager, can you? Actually wrote beautiful works. Next, a fantastic and rare and unusual Finnish composer, André Merikanto. I've got a passel of Merikanto here, actually. We have, he was an avant-garde composer in his day, in like the 1920s in Finland. I mean, his dates were 1893 to 1958. And he wrote these works that were considered terribly modern in provincial Finland, and they didn't fare very well. And so he destroyed a lot of them, or he mangled them. And so the missing pages have had to be reconstructed in order to perform some of them. And then afterwards, he got over it, and he became a composer of less adventurous music. But really, even at his most adventurous, he kind of sounded like Scriabin. And not even the most wild, crazy Scriabin. It shows you just, how uninterested in this sort of thing Finland was at the time. But in any case, here is a wonderful disc of tone poems, including Pan, which was considered his tone poetistic masterpiece, or one of them anyway. And there's a Lemminkainen, because why not? You've got to have one. 4 compositions for orchestra, the Andante Religioso and the Scherzo, with the Tampere Philharmonic under Tuomas Ollila. Very, very interesting. And he's worth getting to know, especially for his opera Juha, which we will talk about in a moment. So here's another one of orchestral works, where we've got his Fantasy for Orchestra, another performance of Pan, the Symphonic Study, which was mutilated score, reconstructed by Paavo Heininen, Notturno and Largo Misterioso from 10 pieces for orchestra, with the Finnish Radio Symphony under Leif Segerstam, and Jukka-Pekka Saaraste. This is on Finlandia, which sort of no longer exists, I don't think. Then there's Piano Concertos numbers 1 and 2, which are lovely, interesting works. 2 studies for small orchestra and 2 pieces for orchestra, showing his later style. And this is with Matti Raikallio, piano, the Tampere Philharmonic Orchestra under Tuomas Ollila. And this one has got, the Prokofiev Sinfonia Concertante and his Cello Concerto number 2, which is from 1940-41. It's about 23 minutes long, with Jan Erik Gustafsson cello, the Finnish Radio Symphony Orchestra, and Sakari Oromo. These are all on Undine. Undine was championing Merikanto, and they did that very, very well. No, not least in this gorgeous recording of Juha. Now, Juha was a plot that was set by Madetoja as well as Merikanto, both in their individual styles, same libretto. And the story is rather basic. Juha's a farmer, he has a wife, she's in love with someone else. You basically get the tale. It's really a lovely opera. And this one is the one that's gotten most of the attention because Madetoja was a more traditionalist composer, although interested in folk music, whereas this one sounds like Puccini. It really does. It's sort of impressionistic Puccini, La Fanciulla del West style Puccini, and it's quite gorgeous. And if you don't know this opera, you ought to give it a shot. You would really enjoy it. It's a wonderful cast, by the way. Jorma Hynninen, the baritone, is Juha. He's Juha in every Juha opera, all of them. And then you've got a bunch of very fine Finnish singers who do everything else, so we don't need to go into them, and I don't need to mispronounce them. It's the Finnish Radio Symphony Orchestra under Saaraste. So that's Merikanto, someone well worth getting to know. Then we've got Yehudi Menuhin. Well, we all know who he was, right? The violinist. Here he is. This is a 10 CD set containing, all the basic concertos by, Bach, Bartok, Beethoven, Bruch, Brahms, Mendelssohn, Elgar, Walton, Haydn, Mozart, Lalo, Saint-Saëns, Paganini, Vieuxtemps, Tchaikovsky, Sibelius, Nielsen, and, Tippett, Fantasia Concertante. Oh, that's him conducting, I think. But anyway, it's on EMI, and it's very nice. I mean, there have been larger Menuhin boxes since, but this is a pretty good selection of his better work. And this is his an early disc of Menuhin the child. He was a virtuoso, a child prodigy more or less. And we have Sarasate and lots of Bazzini, Kreisler, and people like that. Rimsky-Korsakov, other things and other people. These were recorded in London and Paris between 1930 and 1943. And they're little violin sniglets. I can't stand violin sniglets. I mean, I can tolerate some of the better ones, but I would never play a whole disc of them. I would only listen to individual snigs in the sniglet selection. And last but not least, look at this. Mercadante. It was a Salvatore Mercadante. Orazzi e Curiazzi. This was like a really famous opera seria. The plot was very well known among classical scholars. It's the city of Rome is fighting some other cities like North Alba or something like that. And each city chooses 3 champions, the Orazzi brothers and the Curiazzi brothers, or the Horiazzi brothers, or the Curiati, whatever they are in English, who cares? And they all slay each other. And they have sisters, and they slay each other's sisters, and everyone's slaying everybody, and they do a lot of slaying. This is a very fine performance on opera rara. The music's beautiful, by the way. I like Mercadante. We have Nelly Mirichu as Camilla. Then we have Orazio and Curiazio. One is her brother, the other, naturally, is her betrothed. Oh, that's not going to turn out well, is it? Well, in one of these operas, Cimarosas, I mean, she gets beheaded and thrown down a flight of stairs. It's all charming. And then we've got, parents. It's a family thing. They're squabbling. And they squabble very effectively. So that's Mercadante. I have other Mercadante things, but this one, for some reason, got stuck in the Overflow Room. And there you have it. Lots of strange M's, except for Menuhin, but well worth hearing. They really are. Merikanto particularly is a find. You should hear some of his orchestral music, his early orchestral music. Those tone poems are beautiful. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.